Prophets are people who arise among us and speak with clarity and truth about the present and possess a burning passion for creating a better future for us all. They magnify the voices of those who have been discounted or marginalized and suppressed in the name of modern hegemony. They unabashedly challenge the hypocrisy and arrogance of people who create and maintain religious and spiritual institutions that do harm in the name of the divine. There has never been a liberation movement in any community that has not needed prophets. The Reverend Brandan Robertson has arisen as a prophet. He's a vital part of the queer generativity of this moment in history. His work in deconstructing the Christian Bible, exposing and challenging the crushing heterosexist assumptions of the church, and challenging the presumed gender norms of the day are pivotal in the more extensive work of establishing the beloved and inclusive community for us all. For his efforts, Brandan has endured criticism and backlash, which are a part of the lives of all people who work for justice and peace in this world nowadays. Brandan does not shrink, however, from his critics or apologize for their discomfort. One look at his podcasts, his Instagram, his YouTube videos, books, and many articles, and you will observe a person on fire and with conviction who carries in his bones an intimate awareness of the harm that religion and faith can do. But you will also see a hopeful witness about the promise of faith to heal, empower, and strengthen our individual and corporate relationships. And while Brandan Robertson's work includes a heady academic endeavors of papers and discussions with gatekeepers to discontinue harmful practices in religious communities, he's also a pastor. He is at work in his own faith community, building new and discovering old forgotten ways through faith to recover from religious, spiritual, and psychological trauma. He is an amazing human being. And I'm honored to join you in the presentation of this award to my friend and sibling, who with many of us from many historically marginalized communities are no less engaged in the work that Reverend Prather Hall Wynn, one of my mentors said in a sermon in 1998 class at Vassar College, and I quote, "How you imagine God determines how you imagine people. Seeing our shared humanity across social barriers is the first step to eradicating dominance and hierarchy as if God had sanctioned them," unquote. Today, we celebrate the work of imagining God and working together to build a future where all are welcomed and celebrated. Congratulations to my friend, my sibling, Brandan Robertson.
Well, good evening, everyone. First, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to my friend and my mentor, the Reverend Dr. Floyd Tompkins. His guidance and support over the past decade have been invaluable to my work, and I'm so grateful for your gracious words this evening. I also want to express my gratitude to Mark Bowman, Isaiah Lewis, and the board and entire team at the LGBTQ Religious Archives Network for this incredible honor. The work you do preserving our history and the stories of queer activists and religious leaders is not only vital, but deeply significant. And I'm so appreciative of all you do. And to all my fellow honorees this evening, I'm humbled to be in your company. Each of you is paving the way for queer inclusion, not only within faith communities, but in the world at large. And it's an honor to share this space with you. I recognize the work that I get to do and the life I get to live is only possible because of the battles that you have fought for and within the queer community. So thank you. You know, the foundation of all my work, both theological and as an activist, is grounded in the wisdom of my sacred text, the New Testament. And in the epistle of 1 John, it is written, "There is no fear in love. Instead, perfect love drives out all fear." It's no news to anyone here that we are living in an age of fear. Churches, especially those from the evangelical tradition that I come from, who are influenced by fear-based theology, preach harmful messages to queer individuals in the pews and on the airwaves. Politicians who have never taken time to know or understand queer people use fear as a tool to demonize us, to pass judgments and legislation that harms us and our families. Many queer individuals are trapped in tombs of shame, conditioned to fear themselves, their lives, and their love by religion. But the way that we have always made progress, and the way we will continue to make progress, is by grounding ourselves in love. Not a sentimental love, but a fierce love that shines in the darkness, speaks truth to the lies, and confronts every fear with joy. This is the love that all of us advocate for. The ability to live and love freely, to express our diversity and our uniqueness as queer individuals, and in doing so, open the doors for others to step into the light of authentic living, just as our God intended. This work of love, this work of justice, is sacred. It is the sacred work. It is the way we fight hatred and fear in a society today, through relentless, radical commitment to fierce, prophetic, divine love. In my own life, it's always those who dared to share God's love with me, to stand with me in periods of rejection and abuse, to encourage me and continue to encourage me to pursue my calling as a minister of the gospel in the face of loud voices who told me I was unworthy to do so. It's those voices that have helped fuel me, to keep me holding on to my faith and continue to believe that a better world is possible. And today I stand as a pastor, a theologian, and as an activist because I believe and have encountered the power of radical love, a love that has expelled my fears about myself, my fears about God, my fears about the church. Love has been my only hope in the dark nights of the soul when the voices of hatred and disdain threaten to overwhelm me. Love continues to be my strength, my peace, and the only message I know that can bring about the more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. Love is how we've always overcome. Love is how we'll continue to overcome. And in the spirit of the God who I believe is love, may we all continue to overcome together for the inclusion and celebration of all of God's beloved queer children. So thank you all so much. Again, it's such an honor to be with you, and I'm so grateful to be here this evening.